Have you ever contemplated the depth of your trust in God? This question invites us into a profound exploration of faith and reliance on the divine. Journey with me as we delve into the profound verses of Psalm 62, where the author's unwavering trust in God is beautifully expressed. Picture this: a soul in turmoil, yet deeply anchored in faith, proclaiming, "My soul, wait thou only upon God, for my expectation is from him. He only is my rock and my salvation. He is my defense, I shall not be moved." These are words of someone who sees God as their only source of hope, salvation, and protection. The author's faith is so steadfast that they declare they will not be shaken or moved by any circumstances. What does this kind of trust look like in your life? Are you able to echo these sentiments with the same conviction? If not, what could possibly be holding you back? Is it fear, doubt, or perhaps a lack of understanding? These are questions worth pondering as we explore the depths of our trust in God. The author doesn't stop at declaring their trust in God. They go on to say, "In God is my salvation and my glory. The rock of my strength and my refuge is in God." Here, we see a beautiful depiction of God as a refuge. Not just a place to run to in times of trouble, but a source of strength and glory. The verse concludes with a call to action. "Trust in him at all times. Ye people, pour out your heart before him. God is a refuge for us." Selah. This is an invitation to all of us to trust in God at all times and to pour out our hearts before him. As we dive into this discussion, challenge yourself to reflect on your own relationship with God. How deep is your trust in him? Are you willing to pour out your heart before him? These are important questions that will guide our journey as we continue to explore trust in God. The author of Psalm 62 places unwavering confidence in God as their rock and salvation. This is a profound statement of trust and reliance on the divine. The author is not merely expressing a casual faith. Instead, they are declaring an unshakable belief that God is the sole source of their hope, protection, and deliverance. As we delve into this verse, we encounter a faith that is both resilient and unwavering. The author boldly proclaims, "He alone is my rock and my salvation. He is my defense. I shall not be moved." This is a powerful affirmation of trust in God's ability to provide stability, security, and salvation. But what does this mean for us today? Well, it's a call to examine our own lives, to question, to probe, and possibly to adjust. Where do we place our trust? Is it in our material possessions, our relationships, or our achievements? Or is it, like the author, in God alone? The author's trust in God is not passive, it's active and intentional. It's a decision to rely on God even when circumstances are challenging, even when things don't go as planned. It's a choice to believe that God is our rock, our fortress, and our deliverer, even when we can't see the path ahead. As you reflect on these words, consider the areas in your life where you can deepen your trust in God. Are there circumstances that make you feel anxious or uncertain? Are there situations where you feel you're standing on shaky ground? Remember the author's words, "In God is my salvation and my glory, the rock of my strength and my refuge is in God." And it's not just about trusting God in times of trouble. It's about making God our refuge at all times, about surrendering our self-reliance and embracing divine dependence. It's about letting go of our illusions of control and acknowledging God as the ultimate source of our strength and security. Remember, just like the author, you too can find solace and strength in God. Trust in him, rely on him, and find your peace in his presence. Because in God, we find our true refuge and strength. The author speaks of waiting on God, indicating a posture of patience and surrender. This, my friends, is not a passive waiting. It's not about idly sitting by, twiddling our thumbs, hoping for things to magically fall into place. No, this waiting is an active, intentional, yet humble recognition of our limitations and God's boundless power. It's the kind of waiting that acknowledges, I can't do this on my own. I need a higher power. I need God. It's a surrender, a letting go of our need for control, our desire to dictate the pace and direction of our lives. You see, waiting on God is about trust. It's about believing that God, in his perfect wisdom and unfathomable love, has a plan for us. It's about understanding that his timing, though it may not align with ours, is always perfect. It's about knowing that he sees the bigger picture and will guide us through life's twists and turns in a way that is best for us. But how can we exhibit more patience and surrender in our own lives? How can we trust in God's timing and goodness more fully? Well, it starts with prayer. It's in those quiet moments of communion with God that we can lay down our burdens, our worries, our anxieties, and our plans at His feet. It's in those moments that we can say, God, I don't understand why I'm going through this. I don't know what the future holds. I'm scared, I'm anxious, but I trust you. I believe in your goodness, your love, your power. I will wait on you. Lastly, waiting on God means clinging to His promises. It's about reminding ourselves of His faithfulness in the past and His promises for the future. It's about finding comfort and hope in His word. In verses like Psalm 62, where the author declares, "My soul, wait thou only upon God, for my expectation is from Him." As you journey through life, remember to wait on God, acknowledging His sovereignty over all things. It may not be easy, but it will certainly be worth it. The author invites us to pour out our hearts before God, signifying an intimate, honest relationship. This invitation to pour out our hearts is a call to vulnerability. It's about letting down our defenses and allowing ourselves to be seen in all our messiness and imperfections by the one who knows us better than anyone else. This is not about putting on a facade or trying to impress. Instead, it's about being real, being honest, and being open. Pouring out your heart to God is akin to opening a conversation with a trusted friend. You're not hiding anything, you're not pretending to be something you're not. You're simply being you, and in that space of authenticity and truth, there is a profound connection that can take place. What does it mean to pour out your heart? It's about sharing your deepest fears, your biggest dreams, your highest hopes, and your darkest secrets. It's about laying everything out on the table, not holding anything back. It's about surrendering control and acknowledging that we don't have all the answers. It's about admitting our weaknesses, our struggles, our doubts, and our failures. And as we pour out our hearts to God, we find that He is not a distant, indifferent deity, but a loving, compassionate Father who cares deeply about every detail of our lives. He is not shocked by our sins, not surprised by our failures, not disappointed by our weaknesses. Instead, He meets us in our brokenness, offering grace, mercy, and love. As we meditate on these verses, let's ask ourselves, are there areas in our lives that we need to surrender more fully to God? Are there things we've been holding back, areas we've been trying to control on our own? What would it look like to pour out our hearts to God, to be completely open and vulnerable with Him? In your prayers, remember to be open, honest, and vulnerable, fully surrendering your heart to God. The word Selah appears throughout the Psalms, a call to reflection or rest. This single, mysterious term, tucked in the corners of the Psalms, has been a subject of fascination for scholars and spiritual seekers alike. Its exact meaning may be uncertain, but its resonance in our hearts is undeniable. Imagine Selah as a musical notation, a pause in the melody of life. It's a moment where the music stops, and all we have left is the echo of the notes that came before, and the anticipation of the ones that are yet to come. It's a space for us to breathe, to feel, and to simply be. Now consider Selah as a call to reflection, a gentle whisper in our souls to slow down, to look within, and to contemplate. It invites us to step back from the hustle and bustle of life, to explore the depths of our hearts, and to connect with the divine within us. In the context of Psalm 62, Selah underscores the profound trust in God, the patience of waiting upon Him, and the intimate act of pouring out our hearts to Him. It's a moment of pause that allows us to soak in the weight and beauty of these spiritual realities. As we meditate on these words, let's ask ourselves, what might God be inviting us to reflect on or rest in? It could be a newfound understanding of His nature, a deeper level of trust, or a stronger desire to surrender our hearts to Him. Perhaps it's an invitation to rest in His love, to bask in His presence, or to find solace in His refuge. As we wrap up, remember to take a moment of Selah to pause, reflect, and rest in God's presence. Let this term not just be a word in the Psalms, but a practice in our lives, a practice of being still, of listening closely, and of allowing ourselves to be moved by the rhythm of God's divine symphony.